All right.
Hello. Hi, everyone. What is up? What it do? Family, holy shifters in the house. It is I, Michelle M. Trey Hollis, with Vision Board Music and Vision Board Design, and our lovely Alexa. And we are bringing to you the Holy Shift Wednesdays Creative Lounge. Y'all, I'm telling you, it's a powerful shift. I'm going to let you know a little bit about myself. And then our lovely Alexa is going to let you know a little bit about herself. But really, ultimately, it boils down to this. We are two regular ass human beings that are ready to take on the extraordinary experiences of our lives. Okay. And it is available to us all to make that holy shift in your life experience. We're going to talk about what has been coming up for us, as we have been since March. And let me tell you, life has been phenomenal and simultaneously extremely challenging, you know, and so having this space together, because we know that there's other people out there who are creative beings that have big hearts and are really understanding that there's a bigger game being played, or the opportunity to join in on one. And they just need to find, you know, their people that can understand, or that are going through things they can learn from, and that they can share what they're learning. And so hence the Holy Shift Wednesdays Creative Lounge space was born. And let's hear from the wonderful Alexa.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. And thanks for bearing with us. I mean, you know, I loved that intro. Like, we are two regular ass human beings who are stepping into because we're choosing it, right? Like, it's an intentional choice at every moment. Like, will I be a regular ass human being, or will I actually push the boundaries of what's possible here and challenge myself? Whether that's through being more loving, whether that's through being more giving, whether that's through just being more of a risk taker and doing some stuff that's way uncomfortable, right? Like putting ourselves out of our comfort zones. But yeah, that's what this time is about. Every week, sharing what's been opening up for us as we continually step into the extraordinary, sharing the space for those of you who are out there who are having similar experiences, or are just like, oh, this is different maybe than I've been thinking about my opportunities, or I've been contemplating life, right? We want to open up doors. We also want to create a space where you can contribute when you're on this journey of like noticing, of being, I know, Michelle, you say this all the time, but being curious.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things to be curious about as you become not so much at the whim or at the effect of the universe, but you start to be causal in your life, right? Causal out there in the world.
Write those down.
Vision, right?
Curiosity and causal.
Curiosity and causal, like what's possible, and you start to become this conscious creator. We talk about that a lot too, right? And one of the beauties of it is that not only are you creating through like the physical actions that you're taking, but you're creating through your mind, and you're creating through the experiences that you begin calling forward to you as you become this greater magnet, this greater energetic attractor for life and opportunity.
Yes.
So that's the Holy Shift. And it's also a space for just talking about, like, talking it out, you know. I mean, it's a little bit like an AA meeting in that respect, like experience, strength and hope, sharing heart to heart, and also recovery from all kinds of addictions, you know, and any kind of addiction. This is a space for it. And we welcome all who are on a path of recovery and on a path of transformation.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And we welcome those of you who are confused. There's that C. You know, we've been talking about a lot of C's, you know, curiosity, causal, conscious creator. There is confused. You know? Confused. Because I mean, you know, I'm just going to be honest that we talk about big concepts on this show. Yes. And we really do. And we get to be clear, and we get to encourage. There's another C, clear, but we get to to share with you that these things that we're, anything that we say piques your interest and you don't quite understand what we're talking about, that is an invitation to you. And we're not, we're not in the business of just being all what do you call it? Cryptic. No, we're not into that seed. Crypto, maybe not cryptic, but if we're talking about something, if you catch a part of the show and you just don't understand what we're talking about, my invitation to you is, if it catches your attention and you want to know more, research it. Because the truth is that, you're not going to get everything you need out of this hour. Neither are we. You know what I mean? Right. We're not going to say everything that we want to. We're not going to be able to share everything we want to share with you in this hour. And that's why we both are coaches. We both do one-on-one mentorship with people. We both facilitate courses and we network and we're creating networks and connections and a powerful tapestry of experts in so many different areas and creatives in so many different areas, because we all get to be leaders now. The way that I love to think about it is that if we all are leaders, then no one gets left behind. So there's so much room for everyone. But you must, if there's anything I can encourage you all, is that you get to do the work. It's a 1000% conscious. There's a C word for you. It's a conscious effort. I mean, we can just keep going. Yeah,
truth. Yeah, I love that. I love that idea of, calling you forward into your leadership. And what does leadership actually mean? Because I honestly, before I got into these trainings, these kind of mindset / self-development lingo, it was okay, what does leadership really mean? And do I really want to be a leader? Because honestly, when I think of leader, I would think of kids that ran for student council, or, something that was really kind of dorky and not I was that doesn't sound cool to me, Right. But really, when we say leadership, it's your ability to be kind, your ability to be generous with yourself.
Yes.
Truly generous. And from that place, be able to lead others, knowing right from wrong, and not right from wrong in this, good, bad paradigm per se, but just what's the truth and what is some bullshit that you're just going to spin your wheels or create problems, create more chaos, right? It's knowing the true north versus some bullshit, basically, right. That's leadership right there. And supporting others from a place of love. Yes. From a place of clarity, from a place of gentleness and love as much as possible. And that's been a lot of the work that I've needed to do. I mean, I've needed to do all the work on all the places, but really coming from love, because when you're able to speak the truth from love, truly from love, people will listen and they'll actually trust you, and you'll actually create the outcome that you're looking to create versus the judgment, versus all of that is not actually, number one, going to get you the outcome that you desire, unless people are just genuinely afraid of you. And then you've forced them into complaining, which never works out long term, because eventually they're going to go back to the crazy way that they were doing things, and they're going to be okay, they won't actually learn the lesson. But when you can really inspire them through love, then it's everybody wins, everybody gets it, and a change is actually made.
Yes.
And so if you're watching this show out there and you're thinking about, okay, what is leadership? What does that mean for me? Why would I take that approach to my life? Well, the reason that you would take that approach to your life is because it gets way more enjoyable. Your life is just you're whoa, you step into your truth, and you step in higher truth, and you step into connecting with others that are on that path. Talk about opportunities for you, number one. And number two, the planet needs it. The planet really needs it. And so when Michelle's saying that's the number one thing that we'd like you to step away from this hour with us, is being okay, I get to step into my leadership. If we're all leaders, then everybody gets what they need.
Absolutely. And it's really it's possible. It's not only possible, it's happening right now. So big, in such a big and delicious way, like old Abraham Hicks would say,
Love it.
OL, endearingly OL. Well, Abraham is timeless. Let's just say that. So we know that.
Sure.
It really is such an opportunity because it's an opportunity to achieve your soul's mission by understanding what that is, by honoring yourself first. And that's a process. That's not something to be done for, we come on here and we're broadcasting to share. Alexa and I are doing it for ourselves, obviously here at first anyway. But you know what? That's great. That's what we want to inspire. Like, you should do something that you do just because it's enriching your life. You know what I mean? Not just for the possibilities. Now, what we get to do, what we've gotten to do.
That's a good. So really doing it because it actually feels good in the moment, not just because you're like, oh, I'll get more if I do this. Was that right? What you were saying there? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Not, I mean, yes, we know that we know and we believe about what blessings can come from us creating this space. And the main reason that we can know and believe it is because it's happening to us. So there's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind that what Alexa has to say, what I have to say, and anyone that we bring here to share their vibration and their energy and their light with you all, that everyone's going to come out a winner. Everyone gets to enjoy what is being offered in this space. And so so we are excited that as we move forward, we're going to be more intentional, more focused on bringing in more people. And there already are. It's so interesting. It's already happening where we are attracting more people to the channel, whether it's viewers or whether it's people that want to be guests on the channel. And it's like, and this is that hustle and flow vibration that we've been talking about since last week, is that it's as you begin to shift in your energy and as you begin to open up and allow for the allowing of all that's possible, a whole lot comes in, and it comes in waves too. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be ebbs and flows. Sure. The ebb and flow of the hustle and flow. So it'll feel like, it might feel like $1 million one week, and then one week you're like, okay, what was I doing?
I'm a little out of tune. I'm a little off tune right now, off pitch.
Yeah, you're like, I felt so great last week. Well, embrace the ebb, because the ebb is there. Yes. I don't exactly know what ebb means, but I'm assuming it means the dip.
Yes.
But embrace that time. Dip, don't drift. Lift, don't drift. And I say that because when things are quiet, when a whole lot has come in and you're like, oh my God, everything's moving, and then there's a stuckness or a pause, that is for you to connect in with yourself.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
To connect in with source.
Yes.
That's what that time is for, because the co-creation must never stop if you want to keep expanding and vibrating at a high rating. So those moments in between, the space between, as Dave Matthews Band would say, the space between, I think they have a song called that. I
think they totally do. I think you're right. That's funny.
I don't know what it's about, but I'm like, when I thought about this.
That's probably what it's about, but yeah, I like it.
Yeah. It's like that space between is for you to just, first of all, find the gratitude for all that's happening. And to be still enough to let everything fall into place.
Love it. I love it. Oh my God. And it's, how crazy. And of course, because this is what starts to unlock, folks, when you get on this spiritual path and you connect with others that are like speaking your language. Even if you don't connect with it, but you're gonna, if you start to get vibes, right? If you start to get on the higher frequencies, I literally I have become obsessed officially with the Gene Keys. Oh my, this is like folks and Michelle. I told Michelle already right away, because I was like, girl, you got to read this. I've got it on audiobook, and I got because it's like, are you kidding me? Like, this is a handbook.
It's serious business, isn't it?
It is a handbook for life. It unlocks everything from your biology to the quantum cosmology to every, there's 64 gene keys. It's called the Gene Keys. It's by Richard Rudd. I watched a YouTube video about him and how he developed the Gene Keys. It initially came from the human, what's the one that
The
everybody's
Genome Project?
although it sounds
Okay.
like it would, because it's like that's science, right? But no, it came from the one where people are like projectors or manifestors or manifesting generators or reflectors.
Oh, yeah. I thought that, oh, shoot. I know what you're talking about.
I'm forgetting the name of it. It's got a name that has a kind of a generic name that doesn't sound like what it would be, what it is.
Isn't it like the 57 something or something? Is it like 57?
No, it's different than that. But anyhow, I'll remember it in a minute. But anyhow, he was a very avid learner of this guy, like Raw something, developed this, like the previous matrix for looking at your personality type, looking at like what you need, but it's a very fixed system. And so this guy, Richard Rudd, did a lot of studying with the guy, like right away when it came out, was a teacher for it for quite some time. And then he started to like really embody that knowledge and get downloads of his own after like maybe 10, 15 years of studying it. And so he developed the Gene Keys, who downloaded them. I mean, they're so smart. When you read it, you're like, oh, this person is brilliant. It's like Albert Einstein wrote a book or something, like so beyond amazing. So, but anyhow, this is not a fixed system. He's like, you want to contemplate this information, because like really the way that you embody it. And actually, as you're learning about the different gene keys, there's 64 of them. They they're connected with an energy. They're connected with like a shadow side. They're connected with a city, which is like the highest end of it. And then they're they're connected with like some part of the body, a type of protein that's synthesized.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's science, like it's very biological meets like all the other stuff. And so basically it tells you about like what as you're reading about it, as you're embodying it, you start processing out all of the shadow stuff from that gene key. And so he's like, you can read through the book all the way through, but that's actually not the way, like, you're not going to embody the gene keys by doing it like that. You want to like take your time with it and learn. So what do you know? The first gene key is entropy, which is literally versus syntropy, which quite frankly, I don't remember what syntropy is, but
entropy isn't it the unwinding? The
syntropy? Well, no, entropy is like things falling apart, like
unraveling.
The unraveling. And the whole thing, it's not his whole thing, is that essentially in the creative, because the city is beauty. So that's like the higher expression. The gift is freshness. So that's like you burn up the detritus and like you emerge this fresh, beautiful experience. And the shadow is entropy. But he said that this is the key to creativity. And he said that humans are so afraid of entropy and the process of the ebb. He's like, we think that we're supposed to constantly be on the flow. We're supposed to constantly be on that crescendo. And he's like, because you guys are diluting yourselves, you're getting stuck in the entropy. Yes. He's like, that is a natural part of the cycle. And if you can relax while you're in that space while you're like, most people don't, right? So they either go into like overexertion, which is like some addiction action. I feel like that's like signifies like the addict, like, I don't want to feel this, so I'm going to go, right? Or the depressive who gets stuck in the depression energy of it. But he's like, it's very natural. And if you can just give it he's like, take yourself away from others, like go dark, go deep. And he's like, the faster that you can like really like into that, that's where you get the creative passion to like come out and like rise from the ashes. Like the more that you can sink into that and relax, like that's going to be the more powerful push into the creativity and creation.
Oh my God. That is like goosebumps. Is it advisable to like tell me yours or something?
Oh my God. Well, everybody has like all 64 gene keys.
Everyone has them all?
Yeah, we all have.
But how do you know which one you're supposed to be?
Well, I mean, he said it's more, he said it's intuitive. So it's like, if you happen to be like browsing or like maybe you open up the book and it's on one, like just trust that that's the one that you get to connect with.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's one of
It's like
those.
it's kind of an intuitive process. I've started because I'm listening to it through. But this first one, this creation key, the first gene key and beauty, he's like, it's beauty is so beyond comprehension that like actually like something in its perfect beauty, like once you even say that something's beautiful, like you've already like degraded it to a certain degree. So he's like, there's perfect, it's like perfect beauty.
I like
the natural state of everything.
Yeah.
And that creation, that creativity, and that entropy of like going dark and like things falling apart, like you have to have that. So but that I mean really, like, because I think for you too, like as creatives, that's kind of the thing. He's like, when you're in that creative fire, he's like, he's like, you don't even care about leading when you're in that creative fire, because you're just like, it's all about like the energy. He's like, people will get energy from you regardless, because you're like transmitting something so powerful. And he's like, and then after you have that creative process, he's like, get away from people and go do your hibernating, because you can equally transmit the other end of it. And have raise your hand if you have experienced that side where you just like torch some shit because you're like, or like whatever, it's like you don't give yourself the rest that you need and you're fucking crazy, Yeah.
Or, like me, you'll be like, well, I guess I'll just have to do a whole bunch of upper drugs to burn the candle and through the whole fucking everything.
We're just going to keep going on this high. We're going to ride it. We're going to ride it. Yeah, totally. Yep.
And it's just it's not the service, man. It's not the service. It's not the business. And I think that says a lot too, especially when we are speaking about addiction. Which is important. It's very important. And I'm going to bring it up today, especially because Pluto is going back direct. And apparently that
in a minute. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, it's just what I guess they're saying that Pluto has a lot to do with death and rebirth.
Sweet.
Yeah. So going back direct would be the rebirth side of it. There's a lot of and I'm like, there's a lot of dying. I don't know how long this Pluto things, but there's been a lot of dying in every way imaginable, including literally, but also, in so many other ways, because and when I say literally, I just mean in the flesh, I guess you can say, because the energy is definitely, if you can figure out how to, the opportunity to feel the life force of any energy that you've ever been connected to always is there for you, and that's an opportunity that is a conscious choice.
So it's like going back and feeling anything that's not fully resolved, and like having an opportunity to yet another opportunity to feel it and release it.
Yes, even with people that have died, you can have clearing conversations. You get to clear the air and the energy with anybody, anytime. I mean, for real. And sometimes, some of us may have experienced having loved ones come back in your dreams. So we really do get to have those opportunities of healing and of connection and of honoring the love that we share at any time, even if it's somebody that has ghosted you, or if it's someone you've had to block because of their negative energy or whatever the case may be. Allow me to invite you to find your compassion and empathy, and you still can honor them, even if because sometimes knowing that you are only going to trigger someone into their worst behaviors, honoring them is blocking them, even if you want, because a lot of times you may want to talk to that person, but that you're not going to give them what they want, whatever that,
or they're definitely not going to give you what you want.
Right. And exactly. And we all want to hope for the best, but if we know that people are codependent, and they're not doing the work for themselves, then there's nothing you're going to be able to do, except all you're doing is enabling them by putting yourself through the torture. The recommendation is to go into the quantum field go into your spiritual, for those of you who are spiritual, that's where prayer works. You know what I'm saying? You go in there and you express your love. No one can take the love that you have for them away from you. No one can do that. So if they want to try to guilt you into not letting them just not have to do anything, but just suck your energy, they can't do that. You be like, look, I love you.
Don't let them.
You got to do your own work.
Don't let them be vampires, people. There's no space and time for that. Yeah. No, so it's black hole. How long? Yeah. No, Saki. Okay. That's probably not good. Just kidding. Yeah. Bleep. How long is this? Do you know how long it's going to be in place? Because I think I did see something about this last week. I'm loosely aware of astrology. I probably should know more than I do, but do we?
No, it's just like the gene keys. You take what you take what the gene key guy gets it, man. Yes. If there's the experts are the ones who feel called to go to
be an expert at that.
Present the deep dive to everyone, and all of us are just supposed to work with the energy. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Notice what's feeling attractive. Notice what's feeling attractive, and trust that. Yeah, I mean, man, that's been such a huge piece right there. Is like less and less judging yourself for like what you should be interested in, or like what, there was so many years where I was like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed that I hate reading. Like I actually with a passion hated reading. and I'd be like around all these like very well-educated people who are like, oh, I'm reading this book and blah, 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 and it's great. I mean, it's like, it's lighting them up, or maybe it's not. And they just think that maybe they're just like, making themselves look good. Who knows what the actual reason behind doing the things that we do is, right? But I know that I had a lot of guilt or shame around just not being that drawn to reading many books, right? But this, oh my God, if I could just I'm like, okay, maybe I was just saving up all of my mental capacity and that doesn't mean that I'm going to probably be reading it like hours and hours a day, but like, am I genuinely excited to like put it on when I'm in the car and be like, oh my God, this is like, so it's like got all the answers I've been looking at for. And it's possible.
That's beautiful.
It's possible that next week when I put, it's like continuously checking in, like, does this bring me joy? Right. So for those of you who are out there watching, how does this have anything to do with you? Like noticing the signals, like, are you authentically stoked? And it might take a while to develop that sense, right? That sense where you're
That's
like,
right.
really, like I'm really turned on.
That's good.
Versus like, I'm really not turned on, and I'm going to have to force myself to do this. Because that internal knowing, that internal compass, that internal like awareness gets louder and brighter and more pronounced the more that you tune into it.
Yes.
And there's still, I mean, I don't like, some of what I'd like to talk about is this shadow space where maybe you're not getting the downloads. Maybe you're just not certain of like which way to go. And it's kind of the entropy, right? It's like, you're not getting a huge hit from the universe. And so you're kind of muddling through, but also it's like, I know for myself that if I was clear on what I was doing, I would be a lot happier. And something, it's either I don't want to like face there's some sort of responsible piece in there of where I'm like, I'm just not ready to step into full responsibility, and like, that's uncomfortable. Or I'm afraid of what the answer might be, or I don't trust myself or believe in myself too much. But that like weird murky space, that's still been really kind of that's been a part of my week. I don't know if where you've been out all week, but that's come up for me pretty powerfully this last week. And it's been intense.
And you're talking about the need for the desire for more clarity.
Yeah, the desire for clarity and direction, and being like, wow, like something's off. Like I know enough to know, like I don't feel totally aligned around a couple areas. And also my results are showing that yes, something is actually off.
Okay.
So looking around as like, if everything is occurring to show me something, and I'm just kind of illuminating this for whoever
sure
watching. Like when I approach things through like, okay, cool, whatever my results are, whatever's showing up on the outside is basically feedback for me around am I on course, or is this working? Is what I'm doing in my day-to-day life working? Or
Okay.
do I need to pivot? And I think, when I'm really dialed in and totally in my joy and my power, and I'm totally in my joy and my power,
You're playing a harp.
you
I
know?
felt, yes. Are you
Yeah,
doing that?
yeah, yeah,
Are
yeah.
you doing that more?
No, I haven't been, but that was something that
I'm telling
you gotta
you.
share. You gotta
You know, you
work
got,
with
you
it.
remember?
Yeah, we were
Hey, man.
flowing. We
Yeah.
were flowing.
I mean, seriously, that's that. I feel like that's a connecting. That's something I noticed about you. That's a connecting opportunity for you, for yourself.
And this is why it's so good to have a coach, everybody, too, because like I don't currently have like a said coach. I have Michelle that we will coach each other.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle actually has a real coach right now, but
Mm-hmm.
I have other people that are like that for me in my life. But there is something like to keeping you kind of dialed into like fastest path forward, like
Mm-hmm.
having somebody who sees you and who maybe is a little bit further along in the process of whatever
Right.
you're needing coaching around, really valuable. And maybe that's because we need reminders to
Yeah.
keep us dialed into like what's going to work.
Yeah. Well, Alexa and I are real coaches, and
Yes,
we're
we
real
are.
damn good.
Yes, we're damn good
We're
coaches.
real. We're real
Yes,
good. But let me tell you
yes,
the
for sure.
difference though, because
Yeah.
for me
Yep.
it's not how, like, I know how to feel up to life. I know how I'm really good at manifest. I'm mastering the art of manifesting. It's not me. It's really mastering the
The
art of
vibes.
learning to of listening and of surrendering what
Mm,
needs to be surrendered. And even just as more powerfully, and this might help you, Alexa.
wow.
I'm respecting the I'm respecting the asking process. I'm being super honest about what I need. Super honest.
Wow.
Super honest.
Wow. That's
God,
awesome.
I need a best friend, God. Please. I know that it would help me to do better. I know that I know that I work better with a team. I know that I work better with a partner. Even
Mm.
in life, I'm ready, God. I'm ready.
Mm. Mm.
I there's so that's a surrendering.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
big surrender.
Yeah.
It's a surrendering to say what to be feeling uneasy and saying, emotion, why are you here? What
Yeah.
are you trying to tell me?
Mm.
And why am I obsessing over this person or over this situation? What
Yep.
is really what is this really?
Yep.
And that takes being that the clarity of that is a surrendering, because that is allowing the universe to get the bullshit out of your way so you can get to what you need. And it works, man. It works. I mean, I'm blown away at how much it works.
Well, I think that's amazing. And so I really acknowledge you. I mean, because since day one that we started talking and doing the Holy Shift and pre-doing the Holy Shift, it was always like, are you surrendering and feeling your feelings? And I was like, well, I feel like I've tried to feel my feelings for 2 decades now, and like
Yeah.
feelings are kind of still there. And so like I just don't know that I have time for it. I'm just gonna do what I've always done, which is like close down, clamp down, and like eat through it. You're like, just let it store. I'm gonna get up the other side, and then that feeling will be away, and then we can just go back to normal, right? And but
is there a normal to go back to ever? Has there been? That's the question we get to ask ourselves.
No, there never was a normal. I mean, the normal was actually that feeling, right? Like, oh, I'm flipping out again. Okay, cool. We gotta like clamp down and weather the storm, and like wait till the other side. Wait till we're like sufficiently like override, like our excitement or something overrides like the fear or the stress or like the sadness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I've got a vacation plan, so like I'm gonna get really jazzed up about this, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But yeah, the normal was definitely the stress and I mean, I will say, like, both of us have shifted so much, but like I know when we were first having the Holy Shift months ago, like, this was a new concept to me of just like fully opening up the heart and feeling the feelings. And I was like, wow, this is wacky, but you're doing it. And you seem to be moving through really uncomfortable territory pretty quickly. So
Yeah.
gosh, like there must be there, I got to try this out. And so like you kind of made me a believer in all of it, you know, all of the feeling of the feelings.
Yeah. It's what you're like. It's you. I mean, if you're not feeling, then you're not alive. If you can't feel anything, you're not alive. Like and if you don't want to feel anything, that's so sad. That breaks my heart.
Mm.
And there's such a power in letting your heart break. I learned that in a transformational experience. When they said let your heart break, I'm like, damn, that's powerful, yo. Yeah, you gotta let your heart break, man. You gotta go ahead and let your damn heart break, man. Because what happens when that happens is you open up a lot that gets to come out. You're letting things out. And then, of course, when you let things out and create space, the other part of the ebb is the space you get to have or more to flow in. So that is the opportunity. And so what I invite also another thing for the ebb, what I'm learning is I invite you to, again, it's all about radical honesty to yourself. And taking the time to understand what are your values, what matters the most to you, when it comes to relationships. I'm just going to say that whatever kind of, all the relationships, not, because what matters to you, how you do one thing is how you do all. So,
love those little quotables. Yep.
I love those quotables. It makes it so, it just, it's like when you feel them, you just feel, me and my best friend, ever since we've known each other for 20 plus years, I remember we used to say it's cliche for a reason. We wanted to make shirts that said that. It's cliche for a reason, because it's not cliche because it's corny. It's cliche because it's true and it's obvious.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So don't be so quick to wince at the cliche and roll the eyes at the cliche folks. Speaking of that, this goes really right, and this goes actually exactly into what we're talking about in a nice, delicious way. And that is that I was talking to my friend Gabrielle, who I told you about.
Yeah.
And he,
the bestie,
my new bestie that I asked for.
Yes, you did.
And I asked, please write that down. I asked very specifically for a bestie, just like I promise, in every way you can think of. And so and this is why, and when you hear this, you'll understand it, Lux, exactly why he's totally my bestie.
Love it.
He goes, I said to him, "You're dreaming." And he goes, "Hey, did you know that Mozart wrote a song when he was 6 years old? He wrote Row, Row, Row Your Boat," or he said Mozart or somebody wrote that. And he goes, they wrote that when they were 6 years old, like, and then memorized it. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And he was like, but think about what he's saying. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. And I was like, that is actually really powerful. The more you think about that, row your boat gently down the stream, merrily, because life is but a dream. Like there's a lot to really unravel and unpack,
especially there for a little 6-year-old writing that.
Especially the essence of a 6-year-old to write that.
Yeah.
And so, and as we're talking about flow, we're talking about the stream, and we're talking about relationships. Okay.
Ooh,
so we're talking about letting things, how do you navigate those the relationships? You row your boat gently down the stream and merrily, because at the end of the day, it's all a dream. And
that is true. I mean, that's the beauty, is that the more awake we become, the more that we realize that it's all one big dream, all of it, all dimensions of it. How wacky, and are we living the dream that we truly want to be living? And does it feel that free always? No. I mean, for me, it doesn't always feel that free. It feels freer. It feels freer than it did a couple of weeks ago. And I know, of course, I don't think that there's any limit to how free it can feel, or how beautiful, or how good, or how, just like joyful. I think that there's no inhibitor on that except your own imagination, right? That's what
I love what you're saying. And there's a very big the expectation. Let me just say this because it's important. You can be in the, we get to hold sacred and important and valuable our life experiences and our relationships over everything, because one thing is absolutely for sure. We all are going to continue to go through transformations past and beyond this lifetime experience. And you can't buy the beauty that comes from relationship. You can't buy that. You know what I mean? You can't buy gratitude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can only create that. We create it because we're creators. And then the outpouring and outpressing of those things is what we get to receive in return. And it is an ebb and flow. Yes. But my point in saying that, to what you're saying, is that, and we talked about this before, it's not about crescendos. It's not about constant flow, because that really, it goes against the natural laws anyways. And that's unsustainable. I feel like that's the problem that we're having on Earth. Everyone's wanting to go into expand on the surface, but what's being called for us to do is to expand and be rich beyond our wildest dreams.
On the inside. Yes.
From the inside out. Because then you could go through a whole lifetime, but if you have a friend like Alexa, you have a great relationships. We could expand this whole lifetime and never ever leave our house, and we could still have the best life. We could have lived the best life just because we were able to expand.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, and I actually, one thing that he says on the Gene Keys is that actually, once you've worked with the shadow enough of something, you can actually transcend the shadow. So he's like, you actually, at a certain point, once you've like really released all of your fear and all of your strangeness around the ebb, he's like, you actually don't have to experience that. And I don't know what that actually means in reality.
Is that an acceptance? I was going to ask, is that just because that's kind of what I was trying to get at without all the words.
Yes.
What I was saying is that there's an acceptance there's an acceptance of it is. It is the surrender. See, it's the surrender and the acceptance of, this is what it is. And there's going to be moments where there's just time to sit, and it's not going to be exciting, but don't, it's not because something's wrong. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Agreed. And I think also you were making the point in there that like the experience and putting like the love and the, people first, or like, the beings before, like, material wealth or whatever. And that's really what I meant when I was saying, like, I don't think that there's an end to the joy that you can experience. I don't think that there's an end to, like, I think that it's eternal, right? Like, I think that I imagine that there's, given how not awesome I felt years ago and how great I feel now, like I can only imagine that there's just like it keeps going, like the more that we expand and the more that we connect with the oneness. And I definitely I also want to say that my experience around the asking, it's a little different. Like you have a really easy time. I think this is a superpower for you of like surrendering and asking, like, there's something still in the space. So if you're out there and you're watching and you're like, wow, I feel like I have, tried this, like the reason that I didn't open my heart and ask the questions is because I felt like I needed to do something a little bit different. Like that wasn't, it started to open up some movement for me. And I definitely started to get some more answers. But I ultimately needed to do, like, mine's a little bit of a like I have to do like a little cerebral work around my weird. And then I have to ask for it to be removed. But I'm noticing that my asking and surrender, like there's something in there of like still not thinking that my needs are going to be met or something, because I've noticed like I feel like I do ask, and maybe I just don't ask consistently. Maybe I don't ask every time it comes up. I'm like, not like, okay, universe, like I'm freaking out about money again, and I really could use some support here so that this shifts, right? Because it's not really okay to have money issues.
Right.
Actually, and be out in the real world, or there's a couple other areas that are,
and that's powerful. That's I mean, I want to acknowledge you for getting to the place where you recognize that it's okay to be ready to heal that too.
I get to be ready to heal that. So
I am too. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah, totally. And so I'm here. There is something in continuing to ask and continuing to like, all right, what does the next level of surrender look like for me? Where it's like, okay, I don't need to hold this anymore. Like I've been like, maybe I've only been holding that 10%, but that 10% is keeping me like unhappy. It's keeping me unhappy.
That's that, and it's I mean, it's here's the deal too. Here's the mysterious, frustrating but lovely part of life is that everyone's lock is different, is shaped different too. You know what I mean? So it's like there is no real there's no linear one-step process, because the universe is wanting to deliver us something so big. Like our vibrational escrow is so jam-packed with stuff that wants to flow in, and it's different for everyone, because our idea of what's possible for us in our lives and for others is different. So I feel like, so what I'm learning, so that's why I'm really learning to, here's a good example of asking too, because I do understand that my money blockages have been a result of my heart issue. A lot of my addictions, everything has been a result of not knowing how to receive love.
For sure. Yep.
And it's not because my parents didn't love me. And I know that on the vibrational, in every way imaginable, I know that they do. And I'm grateful for them. At the same time that, my mom isn't as affectionate my mom isn't as affectionate as me. This is how unbalanced we were. I used to always be crawling all over her, like I love to do everyone I love. And she would put me in a headlock.
She'd put you in a headlock?
She would put me in a leg lock headlock and make me think I was suffocating to get me to stop doing it. It worked. But and now I look back at it and laugh. And it wasn't like I never felt like abused her. I knew she was doing it because I was getting on her nerves. Like I knew, you know what I mean? Like it was never like, I never really thought I was going to die or something.
Oh my gosh.
But still, that really did on a subconscious level, like it can do. Fuck yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, and I know I was annoying because I know I know that I'm like I want to love. I just want to squeeze the love out of everything. You know what I mean? I know that's just who I am. And I've had to get back to that, and I've had to realize that it's okay that that's who I am.
You had to reclaim your overwhelm, like your I mean, I want to say overwhelming, but that's not what it is.
Oversensitive, maybe.
It's like, well, you're just like overflowing is the word I was looking for. Overflowing love. Like you just have overflowing love. And
I do. How awesome is that? I think people are so precious. I feel like Lydia from Advice and Med sometimes, I'm just joking.
Yes,
But no,
I hear you.
I
Yeah.
could, I simply, that's why I sympathize with old lady. We knew he didn't mean any harm, but I mean, still did harm. So I mean, there's still consequences, but
Yeah.
I digress.
But I
And no,
think,
I'm not
oh, go
going to
ahead.
digress because actually that's very important there is a harmony. That's the line in the yin and the yang that we're always writing, that's
There's always kind of the bounds of like what works and what's not going to work, right? It's like I can be so loving that people are like, it's too much, you're freaking me out, or I'm just spending too much energy in that direction. Like we have limited energy, right? So it's like, how do we balance ourselves? But I also wanted to say with the, with the things that are going to work for each of us, and also like what I heard in your share about the love and coming back to it, like maybe that got shut down for you. That was an aspect of you that maybe got a little bit damaged growing up potentially, and you've had to like do the work to refine it.
Yeah.
But like, and also in figuring out like, what do we need for our healing path, right? Like it's going to be a little bit different for everybody probably, because we're all so complicated in our own ways. But like that learning, I think it's been that path of healing and figuring out what works for me in the healing that has actually been like the biggest teacher, right? Because it's like, okay, cool. Like, all right, I'm not this cookie cutter person. Like, wish I could do the first course that I did to heal my wounds and I'd just be like healed fully, and I'm maybe some of the work that I've done along the way has definitely, worked and gotten, it's been like one piece of the puzzle, but it's really been some of these long seated things that I'm like, dude, I feel like I've been working on this for like 2 decades plus, and it's still kind of a thing. And like, when I have finally found like the thing that works so much, it's like, oh dude, that's my working. And like, that's what I can support people with even deeper. Cause it's like, I've gone so deep on that thing. And it's like, it's not always super easy to heal. Although for some people, it seems like maybe they're a little less complex. I don't know. Who knows? People's internal processes are totally different. But
and I think a lot of it is that we get to recognize that people are people that appear to have figured it out. I mean, it would be my guess, just even based on my own experience, that it's simply they just recognize that it's something that they get to live very consciously. I think that's it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that there's, again, we've talked about this before. I don't think it's a coasting. I don't think you can coast. It's just always going to be like, because of just the media. And if we're having to work and deal with other people, there's no way you get to be cool, because people are people are annoying out there. They're going to vampire.
Yeah, and totally. And I think it's interesting because as conscious entrepreneurs, as people who like listen to podcasts, as people who like see what's possible, we see these examples of like these elevated leaders. And sometimes it can be, I mean, it's really inspiring because you're like, oh, look what's possible. But also it can be sometimes if you compare yourself and you're kind of like you haven't transformed to that degree, it can be like, oh gosh, like, am I ever going to be able to speak as eloquently, or am I ever going to be able to express myself, or am I ever going to be able to have that relationship? Am I ever going to be able to be happy at that degree?
Yeah.
But the reality is like those people have gone really deep and done really intense, powerful work, and they're continuing to do it. And it's it's not like they just got there on accident. They were just born that way. Most of these people that we look at and we're like, wow, what a powerful leader. They've gone to the depths, and they've really had to turn themselves inside out and like look at their demons, face their shadows, see like, oh, where am I a total asshole that's like caused wreckage for other people and done some dark stuff and made a lot of mistakes. And, okay, I don't want to do those things anymore.
Right.
For you and for me, I can say like, man, that was not that I was so egregious. Like I never, killed somebody or like caused like fatal harm or like total devastation to somebody. But like, did I live a life where I constantly felt like unfulfilled and that I didn't show up for other people the way that I wanted to? And did I constantly have to battle internal demons, if you will, around myself or others? Did I have anger and I'll go ahead and say it, hatred towards people? Like, hell yeah, I did, 100%. And like, it's been having to go deep on those things and like really look at, okay, like what's broken and like it's not, I don't even think it's broken. It's like, where needs love?
Ooh, I love that. There you go. That's hitting on it.
And that was a big shift, because honestly, and it's interesting. I listened to a clip from Teal Swan, who's this like amazing teacher. She's come up with this whole method of healing yourself, but she was like massively traumatized as a young child. She was like one of these people who was taken away and trafficked as a kid.
Wow.
She's going to heal herself through that. And so she was saying, like, if you're looking at yourself like you're broken, you have to fix yourself. Your higher self is like, fuck you. It's a battle of the wills. Like, you want to fight fire with fire. Like, she's like, the only way that you can really heal is to come at yourself from love and say,
everything.
Like, how can we love you past this? But if we're trying to love ourselves all the time, that's not the right energy.
I love that you said that. And that, I feel like that you just answered your own question.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, the love is the answer, man. Love is the answer to anytime, everything, any uneasiness, any feeling of lack or feeling of frustration or feeling of anything. Love is the answer. I mean, you think of just loving yourself. You think of what there is to love about yourself. No matter what's happening, and you honor yourself, man, and part of loving yourself and honoring yourself, like to your point, like with Teal Swan, like you're saying about Teal Swan, a part of loving yourself is loving all of everything about who you are and period. It doesn't matter what's happened. We get to find a place to, man, I am so glad I'm who I am. I am so grateful to be me. I'm so grateful.
It doesn't start off there though. Like, cause you have to, I mean, for me, I had to take it incrementally. Like if I could just like, be like, oh, I love myself. If that wasn't authentically how I was feeling, like it needed to start like incrementally. Like maybe I could just, cut myself a little slack today. Like maybe I don't have to like verbally berate myself all day. Maybe I can notice when I'm verbally berating myself and be like, okay, is that actually true? Or is that going to support?
Thank you for saying that. That's very important. Because I mean, look, I go through parts of my day where I'm saying cancel more than I'm saying anything else. Because I say cancel. It's a Jose Silva method thing. And the Silva method, I don't know the whole thing, but I've listened to enough of it to take the parts that work and just like leave it. I love the Gene Keys. Thank you,
I forgot about that. The cancel.
Thank you, Mr. Gene Keys. No, I know that's not his name. Hey, Gene Keys.
Mr. Gene Keys, Mr. Brad.
Because I just love how you said at the beginning, and like you were saying, it just went right back to what I was saying at the beginning, which is if something resonates, hang on to it, clutch that, and leave the rest. You don't have to be an expert at everything. Listen, just try the shit. Try the shift. Try the shift. Just try it on for size. So when I am, I have not been nearly as regimented and as perfect with my recovery path as Alexa has been. I'm just being honest, okay? And when I have made those mistakes, I am very conscious not to slip into guilt and shame. I'm like, nope, we're going forward.
Yeah.
Cancel. When I start saying, fuck, why, when I start cussing myself out, I'm like, nope, cancel. Nope, there's no room for that. We're moving forward, asking God to help me, bring me the resources I need to push forward and to love myself completely, to love who I am and care enough about my body and my life to honor it sacred, to be sacred in my relationship with myself and others. And so what came up for me these past couple months has been the sacred masculine versus the divine masculine. And that's a whole nother story that we will dive into deeper. But the beauty is that God delivered me a best friend that's a sacred masculine. And like every thing that is helpful and that I've been stuck on, I'm getting help in the way that I best receive help.
Mm.
And that's where being honest with who you are and understanding and taking that time to know the difference between what is going to help you and what is going to hinder you, or when it's truly your heart, that when it's truly what is going to assist you and speak your language, the love language and everything, knowing the difference, and when it's about your life and what enhances you and not about what it outwardly looks like, looks good on paper, that whole phrase.
Yep.
Like when it's not about that and it's truly about the heart, what the heart wants,
Yeah.
then the possibilities are endless.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Awesome. Well, I think that's a great place to, and we'll come up with some awesome, we're going to have some awesome topic / maybe even a 1 or 2 guests. Next week.
Yes, it works. I know it's a process, folks, but we're not trying to push. We don't want to. We're not trying to push in the worst way, but be ready, because I'm starting a fast on Friday.
Ooh, yeah, you are.
I'm ready.
Manifesting, even like you're taking you're doing amazing. You manifested a manifesting course, which is just how meta is that?
Yo, I'm telling you,
and you're also going to be teaching some of. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, maybe we can talk. How about we talk about manifesting next week?
Let's talk about manifesting. I want to learn what you're learning. That sounds amazing. And I know a few things too, so that's perfect.
Heck yeah.
Perfect. Okay, everyone. We love you. Bye. Like us, subscribe to us. We get to turn this into a podcast too, Michelle.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking that. Why was I thinking that? Literally looking it up last
Love it. Okay, love you guys.
This is called a clue. High five to the vibe.
High five to the vibe.